Yes, we are live. It's the Armoury TV with some more transfer talk. One little intro, and we'll get straight into it with my guest. Let's talk some transfer ramblings. And you can see with the title, Bayer Leverkusen interested in Granit Xhaka. So with a potential exit for Granit Xhaka, who else are we going to have on today? Gumsa, what are you saying, bro? It's been a while.
What's good? I'm missing you, man. I'm proper missing you lot. So yeah, nice to be back on here. Picked the perfect show to come back with. Um, yeah, I'm happy. Like, it is what it is. Obviously, sad we missed out on top four, but I've got over that now. Like again, it's just now getting ready for next season, in it. So yeah, I'm
Let's
good. How
just
you
do
been?
this. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I've had a bit of a break. Half term, bank holidays, all that. Had a week off last week. Anniversary. It's all been going on. So,
Yeah.
it's nice to be back talking about the team we love. Sometimes they give us a bit of heartache, but that's just the way it goes. And
Mhm.
we're gonna go straight into this, Gumza, because I know you're rubbing your hands with this one, with a potential departure of Granit Xhaka with Bayer Leverkusen interested. So your take on that, sir?
Um, yeah, I think it's again. I don't think he's had a bad season. I said as much as I might not like him, I am honest. He hasn't had a bad season. The last 2 years wasn't the worst for him, but he's just cursed. So for me, it's time we kind of move on from him. He hasn't delivered what he was potentially meant to deliver. Um, so yeah, there's better out there. Like as a squad player, fair enough, he might be okay, but for me, there's a lot better out there. Don't know if you can see me still. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, there's a lot better out there than Granit Xhaka. Like, yeah, so if someone comes in with a bit of money, just take it and go again because like we've seen with other players, we feel like you look at Bellerin, he wasn't the worst the player, but there's upgrades on him. So sometimes you just gotta cut your losses, take your money, and move on. So for me, if it can get done, it's something I would definitely do. I think he would be interested in moving back to Germany, and Leverkusen are in the Champions League, aren't they? Um,
Yeah, they are. They are. So
yeah, they finished third. So for him,
they
yeah,
want to
I think
strengthen.
yeah, giving if he gets the option, I do think he will leave. Um, It's just whether they put the right money up for him. And again, he knows the
Yeah,
Bundesliga,
yeah,
so it could be a good move all round. So yeah, I'm not going to get too excited because last year I was adamant he was going when Roma came in. Like I was adamant he was gone. I thought it was just a
yeah. I
waiting
think a
game to
lot.
see if he can get the
Yeah,
money up, and it ended up he stayed. Um, so yeah, for me, yeah, I think sometimes you need to move on. And again, I'm having this conversation with someone the other day. His role at the club has changed because what he was brought in for, he didn't deliver. We then had to bring other players in to do that role, and he's transitioned into more of a kind of advanced role, which there's definitely better players at doing that out there. So yeah, it's time to move on from him.
yeah, yeah. Well, do you know what? Let's give this a little bit of balance because we know on the army there's another guy that usually spoke quite highly of the guy. So, James, welcome, sir. How are you?
Going on, guys? Going well? I'm good. I'm good. I'm on my lunch breaks, and I saw you guys were live, so I thought I'd jump on. How are you guys? How are you guys doing?
Yep,
All
yep,
good, you?
we're doing just fine, just fine. We're obviously talking about the news that Bayer Leverkusen are interested in Granit Xhaka, and obviously
Mhm.
Gumza is he's a tad excited about the prospect of him leaving.
Yeah.
So James, what's your take on it all?
Um. Uh. I recently said in the WhatsApp group, I feel like him as a player and him as a person are perfectly fine. I just feel like to where we're trying to transition into how we finished the end of the season being our midfielders literally just trying to get the ball as fast as they can to our attackers so they can do the work. Um, he's not great at that, as you guys know. He's relatively slow, and when it comes to his ability, he likes to have the ball, but time on the ball, and he's not really getting that. So I'm open to selling him. My theory is I don't think this is the right window to sell him.
Okay.
Simply just because of the sheer volume of midfielders we need to be getting. Anyway, even with Xhaka included, I think we need 2. So if you're selling him, I think then we need 3. So,
But he does only have one year left in his contract, right?
No, he has 3.
He has. Oh, I don't know what I was looking at then.
Sign
he has a 2 + 1.
Right, got you. Yeah.
So yeah, it's relatively long term, and the +1 is for us to decide if we want it, not for him to obviously take it. But yeah, I'm not against it. As Gumsa said, if he wants to go back to Germany, that's where he played some of his best football, right? The league's a bit slower, and it's set up for him. It's like the Italian league again. They're both, in retrospect to what he's good at, he suits both of them. That's why he's so good on international football, because he gets time on the ball. So again, I'm not against it. This is a question as well. If we do sell him, do you think we're going to get 3 midfielders, or what's your opinion on what we need at the moment? Because as I said, even with Xhaka, I still feel like we need 2 regardless. I feel like we need Tielemans in, hypothetically, if we're going to get him. He can play left, he can play right. I just feel like we need cover for both Xhaka and Odegaard, because Odegaard gets injured, we have no one. If Xhaka gets injured, who do we play as a left centre mid, right? So I know Lokonga could fill in there, but long term, I see him as a 6. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, and this kind of leads into the next bit really, because there's obviously talk of us being interested with Milinkovic-Savic. Not going to say his first name because I might butcher it, but he can play. Can he play on that side? I mean, I've not watched too much of him, I must be honest. But from what I know of him, he would be an upgrade on Granit Xhaka, Gumsa.
Yes. Yeah, he to me would be ideal to come in. Again, there's options out there. There's lots of players who can fill roles. For me, he's very athletic, very box to box, good physique, and I know again, Xhaka's benefits are that experience, the kind of physicalness he does bring to the game sometimes. So I'm with James. You don't want to kind of just lose that and not replace it. So I think Savic is a good replacement for him. Equally, I would happily take. So for me, Tielemans has got to come in. That's just one of them. It's either Tielemans or Neves, and for me, I think at the moment Tielemans probably will be the easier deal to get done. So I think he comes in, and then yeah, I would be looking at a Savic or a Basuma to come in alongside. Obviously, we have then got Partey, and then you have El Nene. And again, I think what we saw of El Nene towards the end of the season is he could easily come in and play that Xhaka-esque kind of job. He just fills in. I'm not expecting him to start much. I think Europa, I don't think he starts in there if we was to get 2 midfielders. So in hindsight, if our midfielders was Partey and Tielemans as your starters, you would then have Savic and Lokonga as the Europa, and El Nene is just the extra. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, if Xhaka was to go, I would be looking at a Basuma or someone like that, or Savic to come in. Again, I think not getting Champions League football doesn't help, but I think from what I'm hearing, Savic has only got 1 year left on his contract, and I think that's how we might steal in. Because
But I think they want 42 million for him still.
Yeah, but again, from where he was valued before, he was talking 75 mil the year before.
Yeah, well, that's so true. Yeah.
So for them, they'll be thinking, do we just try and cash in what we can, or end up losing them on a free next year? So,
well, how much would we get Xhaka for?
I think you get 25. Because Germany haven't got the most amount of money either, have they? So, but again, if it's looking like Tielemans isn't going to cost as much as first 4 either. We was kind of looking at the 40s, but they're saying looking like 25, 30 might get him. Yeah. So that is literally straight swap. So
yeah, James, your thoughts on Milinkovic-Savic?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched him play much. Again, for me, this summer needs to be level raisers in the team. Like last summer, we built the foundation, as everyone says, the floor, so we can have players in. But now I think, as Gums are saying, he, for me, is one of those players you're looking at And from what I've seen of him playing in Europe, what I've seen of him on clips, and I know clips don't do him just a justification of him as a player because they're the best bits of him, right? But I really like how he is. We say Xhaka is a bit of a physical presence. He likes to be dominant. Milinkovic-Savic is, I'm pretty sure, is taller and bigger than Xhaka. And he's solid. He's a unit, good age. And as Gumsa said, like you were talking 2 years ago, you quoted 100 million quid for this guy, right? Yeah. It's slowly been going down due to obviously contract length and stuff like this. But for me, he's one of those in the sense of we need a physical presence. I feel like alongside Partey, but isn't immobile because this guy can move. He is good box to box, decent passing from what I've seen. So yeah, I'm up for it if the price is right. And I feel like even if we don't get him, we should be signing someone of that style. Like, I know we've been linked with like Zinchenko and stuff, and I'm all for it, but I'm all for Zinchenko being an addition on the left-hand side. Like I've like what Liverpool are doing, right? So they played a particular type of way for 4, 5, 6 years now with their team that they've got. They're selling Mane, and then they've replaced him with someone that's 6'3", an outlet. Like it's changing how they play and moving forward. And I'm in agreement with Gumsa, as in we shouldn't be replacing Xhaka. We should be buying someone different to him. And I feel like Milinkovic-Savic has all of the best qualities of Xhaka, but has so much more to his game. So, yeah, if we can get it, especially for like 40, 45 million pounds, as it's been rumored, bargain. Just get him in.
Yeah.
Plus,
just looking at a few stats of his, and again, that midfielder we need. So I think somewhere said last year from midfield, so I'm not counting Odegaard in that because I don't really say he's a midfielder. I think we scored 5 goals from midfield. So that's between, I would say, Sambi, Xhaka, El Nene, and Partey. We scored 5. But I'm looking at him, 37 games in the league, he scored 11 with 11 assists. So somebody like that,
involvements in that many games in that position is nuts.
It's crazy, and he gives me that kind of his frame and physicality gives me that Souček kind of vibe. And Souček. Yeah, and I think technically he's probably better from what I've seen.
Yeah.
What I think the mishap with Souček this year, and I think this is probably where he wants to leave West Ham, is he was given the freedom the year before, and Declan Rice was the one to hold. And this year, if you watch West Ham, both of them have a bit more license. So if Declan Rice is to go, Souček has to hold. And we've seen Declan Rice have a bit more of an advanced role than Souček. And that's probably why Souček's probably a bit annoyed at him because his numbers dropped right off. But like the year before, he was a very, very good box-to-box midfielder. So Savic gives me that kind of vibe. As I said, 22 goal involvements in 37 games in the league is ridiculous for a centre midfielder. And actually, if we can add that, it's almost like the Yaya Toure numbers. Do you know what I mean? You know, when he was dominant, like, so if we can add that to, do you know what I mean, to just to assist the strikers, because again, we are putting a lot of responsibility on the front three, and we do need extra goals from elsewhere, like that. Do you know what I mean? If you can get half of that, that's a benefit for us.
Yeah, I agree, especially if you're talking Tielemans as well, because it looks like we're bringing him in, right? And for me, and this is why I'm questioning. I know Tielemans can play on the left-hand side, right? But if you watch the majority of this season and quite a lot of last season as well, he was on the right. He was on the right-hand side of the midfield. Like you had Maddison on the left, Ndidi, and then Tielemans, right? That's how they set up.
Savage, he was more on the right as well.
Yeah, but this is going to be interesting to see how he evolves it, because essentially, I don't know. I could be wrong. A lot of people are saying that Tielemans can play on the left, and that's what our midfield will be: Partey, Tielemans, Odegaard. Right? I think is a good midfield. But it'll be interesting to see if we can add Milinkovic-Savic and we can add Tielemans, because then you're talking just goal contributions, goals and assists. You're looking at an extra like 30 goal contributions from midfield. Like as you said, with Milinkovic-Savic, like the past 2 seasons, he's come close to 10 goals and 10 assists. Well, he got 11 and 11 last season, but the previous season it was close to 10 and 10. With Tielemans, it's been 10 goal contributions, 6 goals, 4 assists the past 2 seasons. So it would be really good to add that, because I feel like that's, unless we have elite goal scorers in the front, which we don't, we don't like Lacazette obviously is left, but he wasn't an elite goal scorer. Our elite goal scorer that we had went to Barcelona because his dip in form, right? So then you're talking Saka, who got 11, which is really good for someone his age. But then you'll go into like Martinelli, who played well but didn't get the goals we'd like to see. And then Smith Rowe again had a phenomenal first half of the season where he went on that goal scoring run where he got 10 goals in the Premier. It's really good from him, but then he dried up. So I feel like if we're not going to be signing this elite forward or these elite forwards that are going to get you 20 plus, we need to find it from somewhere else. And what City do so well is they have Gundogan, who pretty much gives you 10 goals every season. You have Bernardo Silva, who, again, contribution will give you that. So if we're not going to be going for the elite forwards like Jesus, that we're linked with, Rafinha as well, not the elite 20 plus you need. As Gumsa said, we need it to come from somewhere else. And if you sign those two players, I think it'd be really good business.
Exactly, because you're looking, like, I'm going to kind of echo what you say. You got players behind them that are playmaking in their deep line as well, and they're good on the high press as well, which is something else we need. So I think you're looking at two really, really good midfielders. And, you know, like you said, if you bring in Jesus, who's not your elite striker, but will bag you goals, with players like that behind him, is only going to help him. And it'll bring out the best in Martin Odegaard too, as well, I believe.
And I think what that gives you as well is there's some games where we've all seen it with Odegaard. He's had some runs where he looks unbelievable. And then he goes through games where it's just like he's non-existent. You can see he's still got the class and quality, but it's like we just can't seem to get him the ball in the areas. He's just got very little impact. So there will be games where it might be better for a Tielemans, Milinkovic-Savic, and Partey, and Odegaard sits out. Do you know what I mean? And at the moment, again, we lack that bit of rotation of being able to change things up and make it different. Do you know what I mean? So it could be a 4-2-3-1 some games, and it could be a 4-3-3 some games. And again, it just keeps the opposition guessing. It might be away from home, Odegaard doesn't play. In home games, Odegaard comes in. Do you know what I mean? It's just depending on where you're going, how you set up, how the other team sets up. So again, it just gives you options. Because we have tried the 4-3-3 with Smith Rowe and Odegaard, and that never really worked. So with Tielemans and Savic, that may work. And I'll be honest, now looking at, not saying, you know me, I'm not a numbers guy, but actually Savic would be, and I've always wanted Tielemans, but I think Savic would be my number one to come in. And again, I would be happy then with Neves, Tielemans, or Basuma. I think that role's easier to cover, the deep line playmaker. I think you'll probably find them easier to find and cheaper than a 10 goals, 20 assistant goals in from midfield for someone who's competitive as well. It's not like he's a Maddison where they just want to do the attacking style. He's happy to kind of do them both. So to get that is a lot harder to find. So for me, he should be the number one target now. And then we add to that if we can with Tielemans or a Basuma or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? But for me, that if we can get someone who's going to contribute that much, that's the one you go for.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, oh my bad. I feel like if you get for like if you're, because you're talking right, I think, and what's promising for me is I don't really pay when I see transfer rumors. I get involved in the player, right, but I'm more less thinking about the player himself and the type of player he is. Like the type of winger, the type of midfielder, like what they can offer us. If we don't get Tielemans, who else we can go for, right? So like a Basuma or a Neves, right? Similar kind of mold as Gumsa has said. But it's interesting to see because you can essentially, if you spend like 45 million on Savic, you're talking 25 million on Yuri Tielemans, and then you're talking another 40-ish for Jesus. That's around 100 million. And that's really, really good value for money. Like it just elevates us to a different dimension.
And and you also got to consider if we do sell Xhaka, you get a bit of money for that. If Maitland-Niles looks like he's on his way to Nottingham Forest, we'll talk about that in a moment. And there's probably still one or two others. Got Bellerin that still needs to go. A little bit for Uzi, Torreira's got to go. So that would be good, smart, quick business. I'm hearing that the Tielemans deal could be done soon after the international break once he goes off on his holidays. I would welcome both. Now, on both coming to Arsenal, what would be the likelihood out of 10 for you, Gumsa?
I think Tielemans. The thing with the Tielemans one is there's no one else. I'm not really hearing any other teams looking at him.
No.
And I think that's what plays sometimes. Like when you're seeing Jesus, you're seeing Tottenham are still looking, Chelsea are looking. The Richarlison one, there's been about 4 or 5. Even Rafinha, there's Barcelona still looking at him. Arsenal. So it kind of leaves you a bit like, are we really going to get him? Like, if a bid is accepted of say 40 million for Rafinha and Barcelona then put the same money up, is he going to pick Arsenal over Barcelona? Probably not. Whereas the Tillemans one, I'm not hearing anyone else being linked with him, which does fill you with a bit of confidence that we can get it done. Because again, it sounds like he does want out of Leicester this year, and if no one else is coming, then he probably will pick Arsenal. So, and again, that could be he knows he wants to come Arsenal. So even when agents are going to talk or clubs are saying actually we're interested, clubs they might just knock him back and say, look, he wants to go Arsenal. So that's why we're not hearing any links for him, because I'm surprised like United and a few others aren't looking at him. So it could be he just knows he's coming here, and there's no. Do you know what I mean? Teams know when a player is available or not available, because we all sit there like Gravenberch, for instance. He's one of the most sought after midfielders, or was, and only Bayern Munich was linked. Do you know what I mean? So it's obviously teams have probably approached him, and the agents probably said, "Nah, he's going over there. There's no point even having a conversation." Like, heart set on it. So yeah, I think Tillemans, I would give it an 8 out of 10. I think we'll get that done.
And then Savage?
6, if I'm honest.
James, what about you?
Yeah, I echo what Gums was saying. I reckon Tielemans is like a 9. That's how confident I am on it. It's just, for me, we've heard about this from like Charles Watts all the way back in December time, January time, where his agents were at the transfer centre and like what we're doing, London Colney, etc. And as Gums is saying, there's not really many teams that have come in for him. Again, maybe that surprises me. Maybe it's just something because it's if you read on it, he was close to joining Arsenal before he went to Monaco. I don't know if you know this, but he was really close. He was really close to joining us before he moved to Monaco. He just didn't feel like he had the capacity at the time to break into the Arsenal team. So we've been looking at him for a long time. So that doesn't surprise me. And I feel like once the internationals are done, it will be a relatively straightforward deal. Like Leicester, they don't have much, it's not really in their hands. It's player wants to leave. They got 1 year left. He's open to leaving. Price is just going to go down. So I feel like it's just going to be like a 25, 30 million pound bid. Look, this is what it is. And it'll be really quick and done, I reckon, in like a couple of weeks. So I'm confident in that, saying 9 out of 10. But the Milinkovic-Savic one, I'm not confident in at this moment in time, simply because of the level of player he is. And this is why missing out on Champions League, as Gumsa has said, has harmed us a lot. We are going to go for talented players, but they're not this player would walk into the elite of the elite teams. Like, he would be involved in that level. We'll have to wait and see, because it's mainly Italian outlets that are saying it's that we're interested in, from what I could see anyway. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm more optimistic than I am confident, but hey, I'm here to be proven wrong, and if we are going to sign one player, why not be him? So I'll say 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I will probably echo what James says now. I would go for a 9 and a 5. The Savage one is quite exciting, I'm not going to lie. You've seen him play. His numbers, his heat map is, for a while, I don't know if you've seen it, it is mad. Covers the pitch like no one's business. It's just all red. And that's the kind of player that we want in our midfield. And as for Tillemans, I just think, the deal, it makes sense. No, like I said, no one's really gone in for him. Not like he's a bad player. I think Liverpool have been mentioned quietly at some point. But it's a no-brainer. And I think it's definitely going to happen. Let's move on to a couple of exits, starting with Maitland-Niles. Word is that he's going to go to Forest, which I think would be a good move for him, personally. I don't know, James.
Yeah, it's a shame his loan move didn't work out. It's annoying, because at the time when that Wolves offer came in, I didn't want to sell him. It was the right decision to sell him, but I didn't want to sell him because I feel like the majority of Arsenal fans at that period of time were like, this guy's a player, especially after his performance in the FA Cup final. Like, he did really well. And we thought, look, we have our right back now. Like, he's going to come in, perform. He's versatile. He's going to do a job. But he didn't want to be a right back. And fair play to him for saying that, but I feel like maybe it's coming from a fan perspective. If I was given the chance to play for Arsenal and they asked me to play right back, I'm playing right back because I genuinely feel like that's his best position. It didn't work out for him in Italy. And I mean, yeah, if he wants to stay in the Prem, we need to sell him now. I'm not sure how much we can get for him, probably like 8 million quid, 7 million quid, something like that. But at the end of the day, it's pure profit. He came from the academy. And if he does go, I wish him the best of luck. But I feel like how he's acted, especially that public outburst on Instagram, I didn't like. It's probably best for both of us to move on. So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of seems a little petulant, didn't it? Gumsa.
Yeah, for me, yeah, it hasn't been the best of 2 years for him. Like Jane said, like a couple of years ago, I've always liked Maitland-Niles. I still think he's a good player. But I think he's just going to be another one of those guys that has an okay career. I don't think Forest is a great move for him. Personally, I feel he should be aiming a bit higher. Because again, sometimes when you end up in them situations and you get relegated to the Championship, it's very hard to get out of there. You look at someone like Todd Cantwell now, who we was looking at, was very sought after in his first season. And now he's, do you know what I mean? He can't even pick up a loan in the Premiership. He's left Norwich when they was in the Premier and gone down to the Championship. So sometimes it's very hard when you go to that kind of club. If it goes wrong, it's hard to then get out from there. You end up just being a Championship player. And to me, he is a Premiership standard player. He's obviously had international caps. Again, 8 million is pure profit, but again, I think because we got offered 20 million for him 2 years before, 8 million just sounds horrible. Do you know what I mean?
It does sound horrible, yeah.
Again, when you come off the back of a bad loan, then it is what it is. Again, the opposite of that was Willock 2 years ago. You would take 8 million for Willock. He had a good loan at Newcastle, and we managed to get 20 mil for him. So yeah, it is part and parcel of football. Again, I think the hardest thing for Maitland-Niles is finding that position. And I think Trent's going to be quite similar, isn't he? Where in a couple of years' time, Trent might turn around and say, I don't want to play right back no more. I'm a midfielder. And do you know what I mean? It's then, are you better than what people have got in them positions? And yeah, Maitland-Niles, I think he's kind of suffered from maybe not having, a bit like a Phil Neville, where they're good at kind of everything. You play him anywhere. They said he has a couple of spells at left back and he does really well. Then he goes right back, he does well. Centre mid, he done all right, but he never really locked down a position. So he's always going to be used as a utility player, isn't he? Rather than be, do you know what I mean? Especially at a level like Arsenal, he is going to have to just be a filler rather than be, yeah, this is your position and that's what you're starting week in, week out. So yeah, hopefully he gets himself some first team football wherever he goes, because again, his last loan spell wasn't the greatest, so he just needs to play. So yeah, happy to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We definitely got more if we sold him after his loan spell at West Brom, playing in the position that he wanted to play in. The problem is where he's not really, like you said, he's not performed great, and we still don't know where he actually does play. He's at what is he 25 now? So again, that's a problem. If you got a player that doesn't know where he wants to play or where anyone knows where he should play, and at that age, you're not going to get a lot for him. So like James said, he's from the academy. If it's 8-10 million, it's still extra. So we'll take it. Of course, you're on this stream, Gumsa. I can't go without mentioning a potential loan for Tavares that's been whispered.
Yeah. I'm not against it. Again, minutes is currency. It's important for these guys to be playing. I do think there's a good player in Tavares. But yeah, it might just be he needs to go somewhere out of the limelight, nice and quiet. Like, as much as we're not the biggest club, I'm not trying to say we're the biggest club. I know we're not Liverpool, we're not City at the moment. But our club probably is one of the most toxic clubs to be in. Where, do you know what I mean? We have our fan channels are probably bigger than a lot of fan channels. And when you do have a bad game, it is highlighted a lot more. And even for opposition fans, like they can't wait. Again, there's a few players who people can't wait to get onto. Harry Maguire is one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw a meme going around him crossing the ball, and there's probably centre backs all over the world who try and cross the ball from deep and it goes wrong. But when it's Harry Maguire, it's going to get picked up. And I think Tavares now is going to be one of them players. Whenever he makes a mistake, it's going to be highlighted if he's wearing an Arsenal shirt. So I think best for his development is to go out somewhere and go and just play football. And you never know what will come after that. So I don't think he's a bad player at all. And I think a loan move for him would be good, where he could just go and develop, because he is really raw still. Like it's probably a lot he's got to learn, but he's got them fundamentals where actually if you can get him right, he will be a problem. Like so, yeah, I'm not
So
against it.
what kind of loan would be best for him right now? So a loan in the Premier League or the Championship, or a loan abroad? What would you go for?
I always favour Premier League just because that's the league they're going to come back to. But however, that could also be detrimental. Like I think we've seen it with Billy Gilmore. Again, Chelsea, he was starting quite a lot of games the year before. And was in and around the matchday squads, coming off the bench. He's then gone to Norwich, and all of a sudden he's not playing in Norwich's team. And you saw that with Gnabry. So again, it's sometimes they may need to go somewhere where the league's a bit easier, maybe a bit. Do you know what I mean? And just where he could just play. Because now Gilmore coming back to Chelsea is probably looking like they're gonna have to loan him out again. And actually, if you look at Conor Gallagher now, he's jumped ahead of him. So for me, it's like wherever he's gonna play, that's where he needs to go. So whether that's Germany, whether it's back to Portugal, whether it's Italy, like wherever he's gonna get minutes, just let him go and play. Because he needs 2 years away from Arsenal before he's ready to come back in. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no right and wrong. So it's whatever he's gonna play and be able to develop is the most important thing for him.
Right, James, what would be your preference, or you like Gumsa, as long as he gets a run out kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm not too phased about if he gets a loan or not. As Gumsa said, there is a player in there. He's probably physically one of the most gifted players I've seen in such a long time. Like bow-footed, quick, like the aerially really good. He's strong, so they're like these type of players come around once, not every blue moon, but they're like every couple of years. You know what I mean? They're in per position. I don't know. I know not a lot of people like DCL, but in the air, and this is what I always say about DCL. DCL is as good as anyone I've ever seen in the air. Like he gives me Ronaldo vibes height wise when he's in the air, right? And I see a lot of the physical attributes DCL has in Tavares. So I feel like the weaknesses of him can be coached. I just feel like it's lack of judgment, positional awareness. Defensively, he's not as astute as you'd like him to be, especially in the Prem. Like he's caught out quite a few times. And I feel like when he plays, what I've noticed especially is look how different Gabriel looks when he's playing next to Tierney compared to when he's next to Tavares. Gabriel is so much better when he's next to Tierney than he is Tavares. And I feel like I wouldn't mind keeping him in the sense of if we've got game time and we aren't going to bring another fullback in, it makes sense just to keep him, play him in Europa, get minutes under his belt, cup games, whatever it is, and just work a lot with him because I feel like Arteta and the coaching staff can get the best out of him. But that being said, if we're not and we are planning on signing a fullback, loan him out. I mean, Marseille apparently interested, and so are Atalanta from the Serie A. So either one of those, I'd be happy with. I feel like Marseille would be pretty good. I'm confident that their coach, considering what he did with William Saliba in terms of the improvement that we've seen, will hopefully, if he does go to Marseille, see a similar improvement. But yeah, I'm not mad. There is definitely a player there. He just needs game time and to be coached better, I feel like. And then we'll definitely have an asset regardless of what we decide to do with him.
Okay, so if we just stick with that position, just want to briefly talk about Aaron Hickey. Apparently, Bologna want at least 20 to 22 million euros for him. So it would be a cheap alternative. So if we was to send Tavares out on loan, bring in Aaron Hickey, who's I believe is quite versatile. You can play on both sides, right?
Yeah, left and right. Yeah.
So would that be a no-brainer deal? Do that, then send Tavares out on loan.
Yeah, for me, and he's young. Again, not homegrown, but obviously from Scotland. So you've seen how Tierney's taken to the
Prem.
Prem.
Help him out,
Yeah, he's got someone there, and you've seen how Tierney's taken to the Prem as well. So I've got no issues with that. Like I said, can cover left and right. So yeah, for me, that's a kind of a no-brainer signing. I think there's a good couple of left backs out there you could get. I like DeMarco, who plays in Italy. He looks quite good as well. I think he's at Inter. Yeah, quite young. So yeah, you can find left backs out there, but I do think that would be a good signing for us. So yeah, that position, that's the one where I'm not overly stressed. I think you can probably find more left backs than right backs at the moment as well.
Yeah.
So that's the one I'm not overly stressed at. who we bring in. The players I've seen that's been linked with, I'll be kind of happy with any of them really. Whether it's Zinchenko, whether it's Hickey, whether it's DeMarco, either of them I would be happy with.
Good. James, you got anything for on the Hickey thing? I mean, obviously, there's nothing really solid there for us to talk about. Obviously, the links are still there.
Yeah.
Is he a player that
It's
really
kind of quieting
interests you?
down a bit, isn't it? Because it was very hot.
Has,
Like
yeah.
when we were going to get him a couple of weeks ago, but it's kind of quieting down a bit.
Yeah, again, this is why whenever we're buying a player from Italy, I'm always skeptical because we haven't done it in a while, right? But all of the Italian outlets, not that saying that they're not reliable, but they seem to blow up stories way more than to where they're at. As Gumsa said, it looked like we were going to sign him like the next day after those reports were released, but it's been like 2 weeks and nothing has happened.
Yeah, all that's come out and said is someone else made a bid. Was it
Brentford? I think
Brentford made a bid. Yeah.
Right. And there's been no real English outlets that I've seen that have been like, look, exclusive, we're in for him. But for me, I don't know. I'm in two minds with the fullback because I initially said it like in the chat that in our private chat that I would want like a João Cancelo-esque, someone that is a lot like attack minded, can play both flanks. But I feel like we already have that in Tavares. I just feel like he needs coaching. He can play right back. He's done it. He can play left back, and his best attributes is going forward, especially when he's higher up the pitch. So I'm kind of in a mindset where Tierney is very good defensively and he's good attacking. Do we want someone that's more of the ilk of like a Tomiyasu on the left because of the players we've been linked to at right back, being like Livramento, Lamptey, even Brooke Norton Cuffy that's coming on, right? He seems to be like a very good all-rounded fullback. So I don't know. I'm not against Hickey. I just feel like it's not one of those positions unless we're going for like a level raiser we should be focusing too much attention on right now. But if he signed, I wouldn't be against it.
Okay. I'm going to stick to this position because we had Mr. Andy Amato. Sorry, I'm trying to read that. He was on the stream last week or whatever it was, and he mentioned Bassi then, and he's bigging him up again. Calvin Bassi, Rangers, Nigerian left back. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm gonna have a good old look at him, and we'll see. We'll do like another stream and we'll talk about him just for you because you are really trying to sell him to us.
The reports I've heard on him, he is very good. And again, it's like, and I wouldn't mind doing one of these ones because we've seen how Tierney's turned out, and what we've tended to try and do in the past is let him go to a Premiership club first, and then we think we can then pip him from that club. So we've seen it with like the Van Dijks, and there's been loads of players who are linked with Arsenal before they've made that initial move to an English club, and then we get to get priced out of it. So we do sometimes need to take a risk on one of these players, like a Bassi, do you know what I mean? Where we go and get them first, and see if they can develop into something. So do you know what I mean? You might get him for 15 instead of 75 million. So we need to do. And again, even if it's not, he comes in, he doesn't do that great for us to start with. Again, he'd probably be able to get a move on loan to a Premiership club. And then even if, do you know what I mean? You look at some players, I'm trying to think of top of my head where, I think who is it at the moment? There's a player who's on loan somewhere and the team talk about, we're going to buy him just to sell him because we're going to get him for, say, 10 million. And he's been quoted 20 million elsewhere. So we need to start being a bit more ruthless and not saying players are assets, but they are assets. Do you know what I mean? So if you can get one in for a good price, which you know you're going to make money on, 2-3 years later, then we need to start thinking like that rather than letting him go to another Prem club. Because if he goes to a Villa, to get him from Villa now, you're talking a lot of money later on. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to start getting these players in. I mean, that's where you need to be happy. So it could be you got 150 to spend on the team this year. If the board says actually we give you 170 to go and get a gem like that, and not even really wanting him in the squad, but go and get him because it's an investment. Again, we look at this guy we're getting from Brazil at 3 mil, even if he doesn't play much for us, you might go on 2 loans and you might end up selling them for 10. You've just made 7 mil and haven't really done nothing. So, yeah, Bassi's one who he could fall into that category.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do, Mr. Andy Amato. I think I've said that right now. I've had plenty of time to look at it. we're going to take a look into that. We're going to learn a bit more on the play, and we'll give you a little segment just for you because you keep coming up to us about this guy, and he's got to be something for you to keep coming up. Saying that he's better than Hickey, It makes for interesting reading anyway. One last thing, which Gums has brought to my attention. Arsenal have had a 60 million euro bid for Victor Osimhen rejected by Napoli, but I've been told that 100 million euros will get the deal done. Me personally can't see it happening. Gumsa, you brought it to my attention. Talk to me.
If it's true and we have made a bid, I feel this may be the number one target ahead of Jesus, unless we've caught wind that Jesus may be going up, or he's maybe stalling to see what options he's got. Because again, we are hearing Chelsea are meant to be linked with him, and we know Tottenham have looked at him as well. And I think he's kind of turned that one down because he doesn't want to play second fiddle to Harry Kane, which is understandable. This one to me excites me more than anything else. Just the physicality. Him and Savic to me would be the two. Even if we didn't sign anybody else all window, if we was to get him and Savic, that would make me happy. Just because of what they offer, what I think what we've lacked this season. So again, me and Jays have both been very fond of DCL because of the physicalness. He looks like a player. I know Nigel's kind of put me onto him from early, and I've actually done a bit of research on him, watched some videos, and it's like actually he's got a bit of everything which we've been lacking. So he's got a bit more physicals than what Aubameyang had, but he's got the pace that Abba had. Do you know what I mean? To get him behind, he can hold up the ball. He's got good feet. It's everything which we kind of wanted. He's kind of got. I feel this is going to be one of them ones. It's going to go back and forth. We've obviously gone low. They've obviously come high. Can we meet somewhere in the middle? Only time will tell. I think maybe offering him a little Torreira as a sweetener. Because again, we know he wants to go back to Italy. But it does excite me. The only problem I think with him is it's Newcastle's meant to be the other club who are linked with him. And we know money is not a problem for them. So they would put up 100 mil euros if it came to that. But yeah, for me, this is, if you can get him, this for me is the one you go for. Because I think again, he offers us a bit more than Jesus is in terms of his physicality and his just height. Do you know what I mean? It just adds that little bit extra, doesn't it? It means you can cross a few more balls in the box because he's going to be better in the air. So yeah, for me, if we can get this one done, I'll go all in. I think that bid there from Arsenal is a bid to say we are coming, and it's now relying on Osimhen to kind of come out and say, I want to go to Napoli. So do you know what I mean? That might bring 15, 20 million off the price tag if he can come out and say, I want this move. So yeah, I think let's just hope it is what we're going to do. Because for me, he excites me.
Well, yeah, he's in Nigeria at the moment, so Kanu can have a quiet word with him.
Yeah,
James, James, your thoughts on that?
I don't know what to make of it, to be fair, because I'm caught in two minds with this whole thing. Because again, if it's Italian media, I'm skeptical about the truthfulness of reports. However, Charles Watts put a report out a while ago that Osimhen's representatives has been in England, has been at London Colney, and we have had conversations with his representatives. So he's obviously a target. I still think Jesus is coming to Arsenal. I don't see him going to Chelsea, and I honestly feel like it's all like white noise. It's just the agent or the club of City just trying to hurry the deal along. You know what I mean? That's the way I'm seeing it
as well, isn't it?
Jesus. Yeah, I just feel like I'm not as confident as that I am with Tielemans when I said 9 out of 10 for Tielemans coming to Arsenal, but I'm at like a 7.5 or an 8 for Jesus. That's where I'm at. So likelihood is I see Jesus coming in. However, if we miss out on Jesus and then we do go for Osimhen, I'm not going to be complaining. I feel like both of those strikers are on the brink of having an explosion. They're just two different profiles. I feel like Gabriel Jesus as a main number 9 is going to get a lot more goals than he has previously. And Osimhen is already getting quite a few goals, 15 plus per season in Serie A or total comp. I can't remember the actual statistics, but it is 15 plus. So I don't know. I'm in two minds. It depends on how we want to play.
Yeah.
If we want to go more of the physical route that Liverpool and City are going with Núñez and Haaland, you get Osimhen. Or if you're trying to do what Pep did last season with the no striker or the diminutive striker with Bernardo Silva, Foden, Jesus as false nines, then you sign Jesus. So no matter who we get out of either or of those, I don't think we're in a position to complain. I'd like both, but that's probably me being unrealistic.
No. I think we need both, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm just that I feel like the whole Eddie. I'm not against Eddie signing because I know Gums has been a massive Eddie fan.
He hasn't signed yet.
Day one, right? No, but it's pretty much confirmed that he will. If he doesn't, then I'm like, okay, look, we're going to need two, and then I'm like, okay, then I will be greedy and say, look, go get both. However, I've seen the improvement from Eddie. We even talked about this preseason, like how he's gone from at Leeds to just be a poacher to be able to link up and run the channels and actually have like a more rounded centre forward approach instead of being like, as you said, like a goal poacher, 6-yard merchant where he's just going to stick it in the box and you're just going to poke it in. So I don't know. It depends on that, but there's just too many different scenarios, and I feel like we're going to be doing this show a few times. This transfer window, we're going to be like, oh, okay, look, there's rumors about, I don't know, Lewandowski, for example, not coming, but there's going to be just a wild report that's just going to be like that, where we're like, well, so I don't know. Either or, I'm happy with. Osimhen will give us a lot more physicality, and I feel like that's the one aspect that I feel like we're missing, but it's only select teams because, I don't know, out of the 20 teams, 18 we can beat with a striker like Lacazette, like Eddie, like Jesus. But then you come up against like a Burnley or a Liverpool where their centre-backs are so big, so physical that you need someone to compete with them. Then it would be nice to have an Osimhen option. But we'll see. It just depends on how we want to play. So
yeah, and like we were saying with both sides, jump out. I know we're going to wrap up in a minute, but the key to it is, and I know me and Tony spoke about this just in the group chat. I know Jesus will probably want to play as your main striker, but him being able to move out wide, if you've seen Nketiah play out wide, it just offers the extra option. So again, these guys want minutes. Well, actually, you might get, if you're Jesus, if you bring in Osimhen, you might be saying to Jesus, you're going to get 10 games guaranteed as a centre striker. What you do in them 10's up to you. Now, if you're doing really well, you may get more. However, we've got another 10 games for you out on the wing as well. So all of a sudden, you're now looking at it rather than thinking, well, I'm only going to get a couple of games this year. Actually, we can make up your minutes elsewhere. And I think that's the same with what Tottenham have done with Richarlison. It's notoriously Tottenham have never been able to sign a number 2 striker because no one's going to go there and to play back up to Harry Kane because you're not playing. So Richarlison for them is probably a great move because he will play out wide majority of the time, and then Harry Kane, if he comes off early or if he's injured, now you go and play as the number 9. So Jesus again might not want to settle for that, but that may be a way you get both in because you make up Jesus's minutes. Because again, if Pepe is to leave, yes, we would all have Gnabry. If we can't get another winger, then actually you've got that guy who's a hybrid who can play both roles, so he can become second choice to Saka, second choice to Osimhen. But by doing that, he's probably going to get a lot of minutes because Saka will need rest and Osimhen will need a rest as well. So there's lots of variables why he might come in for that role. So yeah, for me, them two would be ideal, ideal two to bring in. But again, yeah, let's see what happens with Eddie as well. Because
let's see what happens. Look, it's early in the window. The international's nearly over. We're going to hear a lot more. We'll see what happens. But I think it's clear that we like some of the links that we've got. I think the dream would be Milinkovic-Savic and Osimhen, as well as Tielemans. Yeah. That would be the dream. Jesus and Osimhen would be a dream. Gives you 2 different options, like you say. But, let's see. How much have we really got to spend? Apparently, Arteta's been a bit angry about I think that's all paper talk anyway. Yeah, listen, that's what I mean. These journalists are as bored as us during this international break. That's all it is. So we're not going to go into that one. That could be, well, it would be for another stream. We've gone on for quite some time here now. But yeah, on Thomas Partey's 29th birthday, I think we're going to end it there. Thought I'd throw that in there. He's 29.
Yeah, with his new name.
Hey?
He changed his name, hasn't he?
Has he changed his name?
Yeah, he's still going to be Partey, but or have Thomas on his shirt, but he's changed his name to Yakubu.
Yeah, he converted to, was it Islam?
Oh, yeah, I heard something about that. Yeah,
he's now a Muslim. So congrats to that as well. I think he's leaving his name the same for football purposes. I think he's just going to be Thomas Partey still, but his new name is, as you said, Yakubu something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every day's a school day. Yeah, we're going to leave it there. We should be back again at some point this week because, like I said, there's going to be more. There's going to be some good ones. There's going to be some wild ones. But that's what it's like being an Arsenal fan. We're used to it. We see all sorts thrown at us. But anyway, like I said, we're going to end it there. James, Gumsa, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And we shall see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.